Buckeyes, welcome in to Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe, for one final go at it. The regular season finale between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights took place just over about an hour ago on that field behind me, and the Buckeyes took care of business in convincing fashion, 42-9 on Senior Day. A beautiful bow to wrap up what was a perfect home schedule in the regular season, and get them feeling really, really good going into the game next week. So much to get into. My name's Anthony Moeglin here on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube page, the Buckeyes Roundtable pages. If you're new to the channel, appreciate you being here. If you've been with us before, appreciate you coming back. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're checking us all out. Love doing content like this, more of the conversational type, discussing what's gone on. Also love getting into the X's and O's of what we saw on the field. You can catch me on social there at the bottom at @ADMegs_10, and you can find all of my work over on the Buckeyes Roundtable. But as for today, man, an awesome day inside the Horseshoe. First and foremost, just like a picturesque fall afternoon. It was a beautiful day, blue skies, a little chill in the air. Sun was shining, though, and it was just an awesome day from start to finish, really celebrating what these Ohio State Buckeyes have done, specifically these seniors. And it was a senior-laden day today, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Now, there's going to be a lot to discuss today, and as you can see, I'm kind of running this one solo. So I do encourage you guys to get into that comment section. I want to make this as interaction, or I want to make this with a lot of interaction as we can. So if you have a thought on the game, drop it in that comment section. I'll pull it up, and we will absolutely discuss it. But we're going to go a little bit back and forth here. We're going to start start with some negatives that I've seen or that I saw today, and then we'll wrap it by ending with some positives as we get into talking about that game next week, which obviously has the attention of everybody on it. But the first and major positive of it being Senior Day was this defense. This Ohio State Buckeyes defense is, I've never seen one better. You've never seen one better. I've never seen one better at the college level. And thank God that Matt Patricia was what became the defensive coordinator. This will be the last time I say it, but I was against the hire when it went through. I was very vocal about it being a mistake. I thought that Matt Patricia had no college experience, and that was going to be a hindrance against him. And what he's done with this team has been incredible. And what he's done, like not to be too deep with it, but like the personal growth of it too is amazing. Like my favorite videos of the week are seeing Matt Patricia interact with all of the players, pregame, postgame, on the field. He's got this genuine connection, which, when you think about it, you don't get that in the NFL. You don't get that with all those professionals that you're dealing with when money is the biggest factor for them. Here, as pure as it still can be, you got kids who are out here getting the opportunity of a lifetime to play in this incredible stadium, and they're the best at it. This team, I couldn't get the stat before it went off the screen, but it's since 1987, Ohio State is the first team since '87 to hold their first 11 opponents under 17 points. I believe it was either Oklahoma or Texas. I know those numbers are right, and I'm really pumped that I got those numbers right. I don't know if the team is correct, but since 1987, no team has held every single one of their opponent or their first 11 opponents under 17 points. The Buckeyes did that today, and it was really led by Sonny Styles. Sonny, every week we talk about him. Every week I talk about him. He is my favorite player on this Ohio State team. Not only is he just absolutely elite at what he does at the linebacker position, he's like the best guy ever. Well, listening to him talk, he's so humble. He's going to make a ton of money at the next level because he is that type of dude. And today he proved it again. He finished the day with 5 tackles, 3 solo tackles, half sack, a half tackle for a loss, and 1 PBU. That PBU was really cool. Great coverage dropped by him. Ohio State was dropping into quarters. When you drop into quarters, that Mike linebacker, which is what he is, has like a ton of responsibility in the middle of the field. He recognized that the tight end was like in this chip and then get into the flat late. He attacked him, made an awesome PBU. It looked like a fumble, but it was ended up being an incomplete pass. He was special again today. He sets the tone for this defense and for this team. And when he does that, guys like Caden Curry can make a major impact. Curry today was incredible. I remember back, I was doing some, and this will come up in a little bit here, but was doing some thinking back on, my time here with, if you've been with us for a while, we were with an old platform before, and now here, this is my 3rd season. This is the wrap on my 3rd season covering Ohio State. And I remember back in 2 years ago, I remember he blocked a punt. Maybe it was last year. He blocked a punt against either Nebraska or Indiana. And I just remember thinking, like, that's a defensive end who is on special teams and going to block punts. Like the punt blockers are typically like a safety or a linebacker with speed. No. This is a guy. This is a defensive end that goes and makes a big play. And immediately, I believe in the show, I said, I think that the post game show, I was like, I think he bleeds scarlet and gray. Like, I think if you cut him open, Buckeyes would flow out and scarlet gray and gray would flow out. Had a really awesome conversation with him after the game in the post game press room, which will be available here on our YouTube channel and on Buckeyes Roundtable. But he just spoke so glowingly, and it was funny. Like, somebody asked him, "Hey, what's your feeling like being this is your last game?" And he goes, "It's heartbreaking." I was like, "Yeah." That's a guy who just absolutely loves being an Ohio State Buckeye. It means the world to him to be an Ohio State Buckeye. And he's one of those guys where, hey, you got to watch Caden Curry's career at Ohio State. And there's so much more still to go in it, so much more story to write in it. But the last game in the shoe, and he went out with a bang. 6 tackles, 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. And he should have had a touchdown. He had a strip sack that he recovered at the 1-yard line that he was in the end zone. I don't know how they didn't review it. I don't know why. It was so weird to the point where I'm like, either that's a touchdown or Rutgers recovered the football. Like, one of the two. Like, it isn't one of the other. Like, Caden Curry does not have this football, because if he does, it's a touchdown. And it turns out, lo and behold, he does have the football in the end zone. They just didn't give him the ultimate score there. But Ohio State does end up punching it in. We'll get back to that sequence here in a little bit as the sirens say hello to everybody listening at home. But I thought Caden Curry was so special on the defensive side of the ball. Caleb Downs had a really nice day. His final game, likely his final game inside the horseshoe. Arvell Reese, a pedestrian day for him in his final home game, 1 tackle on the day. It does feel like over the past couple weeks, he has been game planned for, right? Just because he's not showing up in the stat sheet doesn't mean that he's not getting the job done. There's just, when you game plan for a guy, sometimes it's hard to go after him, or it's hard to make an impact in terms of actual stats, but your impact is made by 3 guys blocking you. And guess what? Caden Curry's got a 1-on-1, or Caden McDonald has a 1-on-1. Caden McDonald, 3 tackles today, no TFLs for him. Edric Houston, 2 tackles today, a half TFL. A half sack and 1.5 TFLs. Apologies there. I want to call out Davison Igbinosun real quick. Tough year for him because of this, not because of anything he's done or what's happened on the field, but because Ohio State's been so dominant and they control the front 7, the ball doesn't get out to 1 at all. Like, it doesn't get to him because it's either a sack or the quarterback has to get off his number 1 read. And oftentimes he's guarding the number 1 read, or he's guarding the number 3 or 4 read in a progression where a quarterback doesn't have that time because this Ohio State pass rush and defense is so elite that he hasn't had the ability to make a lot of game-changing plays. Well, he had a sequence here, I believe it was in the second quarter. Yeah, it was in the second quarter because there was a personal foul on his interception. But it was second down, second and short, and there was an in-cutting route, right, where sometimes those are really hard to cover from a cornerback's position. You get a guy, best athlete on the team, running full speed into like a speed cut across the middle of the field with no help. It's a tough cover, and the ball was placed in a really good spot, and Igbinosun laid out, got his long reach arm on it, knocked it down, and was pumped. And what did he do? He came back the very next play. I'm thinking of it. Might have gotten away with a little bit, but they're letting him play today. And it was a deep shot up the left sideline there, and he actually intercepted the football. It was back-to-back plays where it was like, oh my gosh, everyone forgets about number 1. Well, he was there to remind you that he's elite and he can get the job done in a major way. I thought he was special. The defense as a whole, I thought was unbelievable again today, giving up 9 points. The lone touchdown came late in the fourth quarter, and even on that one, Rutgers goes for 2, and Devin Sanchez picks it off. Like, hey, guess who's next up? Number 6 is next up because he's going to be every bit of a freak. But awesome game all around by the Ohio State defense. Now, one of the positives on the other side of the football, I got a text today from, if you follow all of my work, from my guy Spencer German, said this is a Max Klare day, and he sure was right. 7 catches, 105 yards, and 1 touchdown for Max Klare. And I think this is like such a bigger picture conversation for Max because today was a great opportunity. The storyline that we're going to talk about here in a moment is that the two best players on Ohio State's team are out. For how long, we don't know. For how serious their injuries are, we do not know. But what did that do? What did that open? It opened the door for somebody on the offensive side of the football to take advantage. That person was Max Klare. Max Klare has been such like a background piece all year long, like reliable, big spots. Max comes up with it. His end of game tallies are like 5 catches for 30 yards, maybe a touchdown, but like 3 first down conversions. You're like, oh yeah, because he's a great tight end. Today, he was the main show. He was the star of the show today for the Buckeyes, and it was really fun to watch him play. And I think they did a really good job of scheming it up. I tweeted the video, his 139-yard catch up the sidelines here. I think that I'm going to say this now and take it back here in a little bit, but Brian Hartline and the offensive staff did a nice job in some situations scheming up open receivers. They were very clearly getting man-to-man coverage all game long, and when you do that, you can not easily scheme stuff up, but you can make it really challenging for opposing defenses to go to stick with guys and make plays. And to do that, they had this one formation where I think they sent James Peoples in motion like 3 times, and he sets up on the right side of the line, where Klare was attached to the left side of the line in that tight end position, and they run this motion across and snap the ball, and 8 guys sprint to the left. They used to call it the running of the elephants, right to the left, where everybody just goes to the left and gets on their horse. So all the defensive flow is going to the defense's right. Well, Max, it's called a sneaky route. You can run it a couple different ways, but he stays patient in that line, in that scrum, and then sneaks out the backside. And his guy was totally picked off by all of the action going away from him. And Max came out the right side scot-free, and Julian put the ball on him, and he turned it up the field for an awesome gain. The touchdown, again, schemed up beautifully. It was man-to-man coverage. They used a pick route, and he ran a wheel up the sidelines. Julian put it right between his numbers, and he hauled it in for the touchdown. It was good to see him get in the end zone, but how cool is that? He comes to Ohio State. This year is his first year. It's his last year playing football. And on senior day, in his new home, his new rental home, if you will, he gets a touchdown in his biggest day as a Buckeye. I thought that was awesome. And one of the positives from the Ohio State offense. So now the Ohio State offense as a whole, I think that there's some work to be done here. Today was in my opinion, a major red flag for Ohio State when your 2 best players are out. And a lot of this is obvious. Like, hey, if you take CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens off the Cowboys, they're going to look a little bit different. You take whoever, name them, you take Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua off the Rams, they're going to look different. Well, you take Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate off the Buckeyes, and it looks a lot different. And in my opinion, looks really concerning. Like up until the second half of last week, Ohio State looked like an unbeatable force. Like that was a team that, hey, when they showed up on a field, didn't matter who you were, you were going to get beat because the defense was going to hold you to 0 points, and the offense was unstoppable. And they have a transformer in Jeremiah Smith, and they have the second coming of CeeDee Lamb and Carnell Tate. Then last week, obviously Carnell misses the Purdue game, as they told us it was precautionary, and then he misses the UCLA game. Well, Jeremiah Smith pops up on the injury report for the UCLA game, and you're like, oh, that's a new thing. That's new. That's brand new there. But he is on the injury report, and then you watched him go out and play last week against UCLA, and he's clearly beat up, like very obviously beat up, something with his lower body, his leg, and hardly can move. And the lasting image for me, I wrote several stories about it over on Buckeyes Roundtable, was him walking up the ramp and like needing help and like limping, like visibly limping up the ramp. And you're like, that doesn't look like a guy who's going to go out and run routes faster than everybody, bigger than everybody, stronger than everybody. For the first time in his Ohio State career, he looked human. Like he looked like he got hit or something happened either in the Purdue game or in practice. You'd hope it'd be in the game that is a serious injury for him, and it keeps him out this week. But I noticed it last week when they came out of the locker room at halftime against UCLA, and it was Julian looked uncomfortable, as you would. I've lost my two best receivers before. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but he looked uncomfortable. He wasn't bad by any means, and they were up so big that they weren't trying to throw it. So I think he was like 5 for 10 or something, or like 10 for 21 or something. I forget the actual stats, but he had 37 yards passing in that second half, and just didn't look the part. And you're like, something didn't look right there, but chalk it up to whatever. And then today it was like, okay, huge opportunity. We get the injury report this morning. Huge opportunity for Julian to go out there and prove that, hey, I'm the best player on this team, and I can be the reason why we win regardless of who's out there and who I'm throwing to. And I don't think that came through. Julian on the day, this is a guy who's been incredible all year long, 13 for 19 for 157 and 2 touchdowns. There was a couple uncharacteristic misses. There were some drops in there. There was a very obvious, in my opinion, lack of trust from the offensive play callers and the Ohio State wide receivers. Moeglin Graham hardly got any plays. I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing the participation chart. We'll see the plays that each of these guys played. Bryson Rogers didn't have his name called today. Let me confirm that. Yeah, Bryson Rogers didn't have his name called today at all. David Adolph, a name that we haven't even said on this show. I've never typed it before on Buckeyes Roundtable, was the leading wide receiver today. 2 catches for 23 yards. Their wide receivers today went a combined 4 catches for 33 yards today. Everybody else who caught a pass was not a wide receiver. That's a problem. Like, that is a very, 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 very big problem. That's a problem next week. That's a problem in the Big Ten championship game. God willing, you're there. That's a problem in the playoffs because we don't know the extent of what Carnell Tate's injury is. You think that Coach Day in the post-game press conference, which you can find on the page, he said that they're both day-to-day. That's like saying, you did a good job. Well, what does that mean? What does day-to-day mean? Does that mean that, hey, on Wednesday they're going to try to go? Are they literally going to try to go to practice tomorrow? We watched Jeremiah walking around the field today. He ain't practicing tomorrow. He ain't practicing Monday or Tuesday. Like, that's a guy who's going to be like a game-time decision next week, and that's a problem because, again, at halftime, I got to look up. Had this prepped. Thought I had this prepped. We went punt, fumble, touchdown, strip, 7-0, 14-3. Yeah, 14-3 at halftime. And there's a situation at halftime that I thought really caught my attention about what Ryan Day thinks of his offense right now. With the lack of trust in the receivers, I thought it was a major concern. And the way that this offense looked followed suit, right? And it's obvious. You're down your 2 top guys. And it did open the door for Max and the tight end room to find a different way to win. But in the first half, Julian had 9 completions and 3 of them went to receivers. Like, that's just not it, and I thought it was very interesting. I meant to bring this up just a minute ago when we were talking about Max Klare. This is the first game in 38 consecutive games. First time in 38 consecutive games where a tight end was the leading receiver. The last time that happened was Cade Stover. I was going to do a trivia question for you all, but no one's in the comment section. So was Cade Stover, and that was on September the 2nd of 2023. It was Cade Stover had 89 yards receiving from Kyle McCord, right? And Chip Trainum was the leading rusher in that game. Like, that was my first game working for Buckeye. We were on SI at that point. Like, that was a long time ago. That was a very long time ago. It's been 38 consecutive games. Now, the flip side of that is, like, you've had the best receivers. Marvin Harrison's name's littered all in there. Emeka Ibuka's name, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, all these guys that are first-round draft picks and are turning over in the NFL right now were your best guys. But today was the first time where you didn't have a receiver lead the charge for you, receiving the football in three seasons. I think that's very telling. And I mentioned that sequence at the end of the first half. Ohio State's defense sets up Rutgers goes on a 4-minute drive, 6 plays after Ohio State scores a touchdown. So Ohio State goes up 14-3. Okay. And then they get the ball back to Rutgers. Rutgers gets the ball with 2:27 left to go in the first half. They go run, no timeout, another run, no timeout, incompletion. That takes you to, it was a 12-yard run on first down. So they get a first down, then they get no yard run, and then they throw an incompletion, and that's also the 2-minute warning. Okay. And then there was that interception I was talking about with Igbinosun. And now the clock's down to 1:30. And then Rutgers runs the ball, passes it for a completion, and then gets sacked. There was 1:33 left because they had gotten the ball to the 50-yard line. So they were going to try and score. So they weren't trying to run the clock out. But they get the ball to the 50-yard line, and Ohio State sacks them with 1:33 left to go. That, in every other game that I've ever seen coached by Ryan Day, and pretty much all games that your offense should be rolling or has the big advantage, that is an absolute timeout scenario. You call the timeout, you get the football back, and then you try to go push it down the field to go and score. Ohio State doesn't do that. They didn't do that, and they allowed the clock to run down where the ball was punted with 28 seconds to go in the half. That's a major red flag to me where Ryan was like, no, we're taking it's 14-3. We're taking this thing into halftime. I don't like where my receivers are at. I don't like where this offense is at. And I don't trust that they're going to go out there and not turn the football over or not give Rutgers another chance to go score. Because mind you, Bo Jackson fumbled on the first drive of the game going in to score, at the goal line. Like, that can't happen. Like, that type of stuff simply cannot happen. So a very major point to me where I was like, something's wrong here, right? We get to halftime and something is absolutely wrong there where Ryan doesn't call a timeout. Think back to Purdue when he called a timeout with like 45 seconds left. They punt it back, and Julian and Jeremiah go on I think it was like an 80-yard drive or 60-yard drive, and they kick a 39-yard field goal. Like, if anything, that was a time to practice. That was a good time to practice what your 2-minute drill is supposed to be and what it's going to be. So that one really stood out to me as a big sign of that Ryan Day or Brian Hartline doesn't trust his receiving core. And the irony is that it's Brian Hartline's group. That's the big thing. The play caller's group is the wide receivers, and they only got 3 catches today. And the leading receiver for them, a guy that we haven't called his name at all this year, David Adolph, is the leading wide receiver for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Other guys to make catches: Jelani Thurman had a catch, Bo Jackson had a catch, Brandon Ennis had 2, and Bennett Christian had 1. There was 14 receptions on the day, and 7 of them went to Max Klare, and all 7 of those came from Julian Sayin. So I would put that up there with major concern, sound the alarms type of concern for me. A place that you don't sound the alarms, and a place that we have been calling for here on this channel, on our show for a long time, is the run game. Ohio State's run game today is fantastic. 38 carries for 254 yards, 4 scores. Again, back-to-back games with 4 touchdowns from the running back room. The long here was James Peoples. James Peoples carry at a 49-yarder, basically a 50-yarder in cleanup time there. So let's just even take that out. 37 for 200 yards. Let's just do that. Some quick math there. I'm not going to claim that I'm a math guy, but we can talk and math at the same time. That's 5.5 yards a pop. That is winning football. Bo Jackson today was like RB1 material. 19 carries for 110 and 2. Obviously has the fumble. We're going to chalk that up to being a freshman. Where that's a freshman mistake, one that he's going to absolutely improve from and be better because of, but one that you don't want to have happen. You don't want it to get to that point, but it did, and it's something that'll never happen again. Ohio State, for whatever reasons, had a tough time in the low red area trying to score touchdowns, and that reared its ugly head again today. But Bo was 19 for 110 and 2. James Peoples 3 for 55 and 1. Isaiah West, 8 for 48. I thought he ran the ball really well. 8 for 48. That's 6 yards a pop. Lincoln Kienholz, 3 for 37. And then C.J. Donaldson, 3 for 8 and 1 touchdown. They've pretty much phased him out of anything between the 5-yard lines, right? If Ohio State's between either the -5 or the +5, they are giving it to they're giving it to Bo Jackson or Isaiah West. Anything inside, any type of get out of our own red zone or go score is going to C.J. Donaldson. That's kind of his role at this point in time. And so I thought the run game was really good. And a big challenge this week was the offensive line. It was the right guard position. Tegra Shabola got the first go at it. And truth be told, I wasn't monitoring it as closely as I should be, or I should have been, being that it was something I told you all I was going to have my eyes on. So that'll come later in the week when I can get back and rewatch some of this game. But yeah, I thought the line played well, kept Julian upright, ran the football at a really high rate, and did what they needed to do. I thought that was really cool. Another positive for me, just in terms of a package that I thought was up. It had its ups and it's had its downs, but today was very big. It was a very big Lincoln Kienholz day. This was one where it did feel like, and Jerem, I'm going to shout you out again. It did feel like they were just like, hey, we're going to throw this on film and we're going to throw some passes out of it and we're going to put Lincoln in the game so that Michigan, Indiana, and the rest have to prepare for a Wildcat type package with Lincoln Kienholz that we can throw out of. And they did that today. I thought, it was funny. I've been here a million times. The one where Lincoln came in and they ran like a play action bootleg to the right. and he had Brandon Ennis like streaking across the middle of the field. It's a tough throw. I mean, honestly, you're moving right, the receiver's moving right. It's hard to like be pinpoint on it. And Lincoln missed him a little bit behind. And the problem was he wasn't bootlegging into the Rutgers sidelines. He was bootlegging into his head coach, who lost his shit, lost it, like snapped on him. I'm like, oh. I could like feel his pain from all the way up in the press box. I was like, no, don't be good on my guy, be easy on my guy, because we've all been there. And it was a tough throw, but I thought his package was really good, and it was pretty successful. 3 for 37 on the ground, and then through the air, he was 1 for 3 for 19 yards. Did what he needed to do, but like I said, kind of put that thing on tape for upcoming opponents to study and to be prepared for. So, I think that this game today didn't have much intrigue on it at all, for the proper reasons. This was Ohio State opened as 34.5 point favorites, and they closed the game at 28.5 point favorites. I think. Oh. Yeah, my final score prediction was 45-3. We went 42-9. I'm getting damn close. I'm going to get one of these before the end of the year, but pretty close there. It's not hard. I don't want an award for this. It's not hard to predict that Ohio State's going to cover and blow out an opponent, but I'm like 11-0, I think, this year. However, that said, it's time, right? We tweeted this from our account. Kenyatta Jackson, first question he got was like, all right, what are our thoughts? And he goes, it's time. It's the week. It's finally the week, man. And there's a lot of just pent up tension from these guys. Like they have been caged animals on this topic for the entire year. They've been so good about it. Like, I'm telling you what, these kids don't get enough credit for every time, because they get peppered in there. Some of the questions they get asked, in my opinion, can be a little unfair at times, trying to get something out of them. But they are so well trained that they do not say the wrong thing at all. Even today, Caden Curry was asked multiple times, like, how much preparation have you guys done for Michigan? Like, no. We take this thing one game at a time. Michigan's in the back of our minds, but we take this one thing at a time. And one thing that I heard one of my colleagues say, and I forget who actually said it, but I was working on my computer, I could hear the question go, is like, what's been the difference this year as opposed to other years? And Ryan answered it as such of, hey, we've wanted to make Michigan week feel just like any other week, right? And that's a hard thing to balance. Cameron T. Robinson, I believe he's from The Athletic. He asked this question to Caden and to Coach Day, but trying to keep this thing feeling like as normal as possible, that's a really hard line to balance, or hard thing to balance, because this is the game. Like, you come to Ohio State to win this game. The Ohio State-Michigan rivalry is the best rivalry in sports, bar none. And Ohio State, I was right over there last year after they got beat, and I remember saying, like, they make this their shoot, like they blow this thing so out of proportion that it can be crazy at times. And when you think about something for 365 days, and you prepare for something for 365 days, and you think about it's constantly on your mind. And then the result of it isn't like your result is coming in you got 3 weeks to make it right, or you got 2 months to, I think of it in work terms, like, all right, team, we have 2 months to execute this project. No, they have 60 minutes to execute the project. They have 60 minutes, to come out successful on a topic and a thing that they've been thinking about, and it's been eating at their brain for 365 days. And you get out there and you just squeeze it so tight, and you choke it out, and you blow it. And you've seen that the last couple of years, from that last year especially, 19-point favorites. Everyone knows the story. But this team, I think, in Coach Day, and this is an obvious statement, but him winning the national title obviously gave him some confidence that, like, I can do this. I can win the big games. Like, to this point, he was 0-4, or he had 4 straight losses to Michigan, and starting to have that self-doubt, and you could see it. We've seen it all year in the press conference room. Like the weight's been lifted off him a little bit, because, hey, he proved to himself that he can go get it done in the biggest situations. And now he's got the opportunity to do that in a game that's eluded him to this point, or for at least the last half decade here. And these guys, man, are so ready to go. Like, this group is so locked in, so ready to go, to get going on this week, to start preparing for the team up north. And I think that They have the right mindset. Nobody even talked about it today. Kenyatta said it's go time this week. Caden, you could see it in his eyes. He was like, he wanted to, like, if he could go play Michigan right now, he'd go do it. But he was like, I'm going to enjoy this one, and really take the weekend and make sure that we get it done, because he's like, I don't want to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy. And he talked about winning it for the players that he played with last year and the year prior to that, because they had got the opportunity to do so. So I'm really excited about what this team has to offer and what this game has to offer for this team. And truth be told, I'm excited about it, but I'm also concerned about it for the reasons that we talked about out front. It's 6 straight quarters now where there's a clear difference in this football team when they don't have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. The concern with both of them is that it's lower body injuries. The concern with Carnell is that it's a soft tissue injury, and he doesn't want to potentially risk something in the future. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is. Nothing's been told to us. Nothing's been confirmed to anybody. But we know that they're both dealing with lower body injuries. And we saw Jeremiah walking around the field today. It didn't look good. I'll just say that it didn't look good. He's limping around still very uncomfortable. And they're going to do their best to play. This game is everything to this team, this program, the city, this stadium here. They're going to do their everything to go play and do that. So excited to see what that has to offer this week. And obviously, the storylines are vast. And frankly, like Ohio State, I'm writing a piece right now that'll go live here later. Ohio State's major favorites right now. They're open as 13.5-point favorites, 2 touchdown favorites to a team that's, if Michigan wins, they got to win today yet. But if they win next week, they're going to the Big Ten championship game. Like, this isn't last year where Michigan was like, all right, backs against the wall. This is our last ditch effort. And this is the last thing we're going to do. No. This is a group that if they beat Ohio State, they are going to the Big Ten championship and likely going to the college football playoff. Like, that's what's at stake for them this year, as opposed to last year where they were on their way to spring break or whatever, or Christmas break, and they had one last thing to do. It was take down the Buckeyes, and they did that. So there's so many storylines, and really excited for the week. The show schedule for the week, we're gonna have a show go every day. We're going to look back at the history. We're going to do our typical Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, but Tuesdays and Thursday, we're going to jump in with some more fun stuff, fun type things. You maybe getting a film review of the past couple weeks, see what's going on. I know you guys love those. Those are hard to do, so I can't do them all the time, but maybe we'll get one of those in this week, and then get you set for Saturday. Gonna have to get creative on Saturday with getting you guys some content there, because it's gonna be a packed house. It's gonna be a ton of fun. So awesome crowd in here tonight. I do encourage you all, if you're new to the channel, if you could hit that subscribe button. If you like what I do, like what our team does, awesome. Subscribe and go check us out at Buckeyes Roundtable. You can get to us at this link below. I was actually supposed to change this. All you got to do is type in buckeyesroundtable.com and you'll get there. We had our domains changed, but if you type that link in, you'll also get there at all. But if you just Google search us now, we're now been around enough where we're starting to appear on all that stuff. If you can't find us, go over to YouTube, or Yahoo, type in Buckeyes Roundtable. You'll find all of our work over there for sure. Takes a little bit longer to get into the Google algorithm than it does into some of the others. So really appreciate it. It's been fun to get this thing off the ground, and we're excited to continue it through the rest of the season here and into the future. But a lot of fun here today. We're signing off. It is hopefully our last time here. If we're playing another football game here, that means something went wrong next week, or something went really wrong in Indianapolis. But man, an awesome season inside the Horseshoe. It's all thanks to you guys. Really do appreciate it. I work my butt off to try to give you guys some great content. Our team is always trying to post and get you out relevant information and fun stuff that you guys like to follow. We try to be a little bit different. Obviously, I just sat here and talked for 35 minutes to you all, and that's a lot of the same. But we try to give you some different content that you guys can enjoy and learn something. My biggest thing is I want to teach you something about football. I love the sport. I loved playing it. I loved coaching it. And I love doing this type of stuff, teaching you all. Just maybe even if it's one thing, love doing it. So appreciate it. This was an awesome year inside the Horseshoe. There's still a lot of football left to go. The national championship is on January 19th. We still got 2 months left. It's hard to believe it's Thanksgiving week. Oh my God. I didn't even think about it. It's Thanksgiving week. We'll have a show on Thanksgiving for sure. And we'll have a bunch of stuff this week, but enjoy the holiday week with all your family and friends. Enjoy the week getting ready for the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. I know I'm not stupid. You get Buckeye content from everywhere. The team of people that are in those rooms and doing this stuff they all produce great stuff. So if you make me and our team at least one stop on your trip of Buckeyes content, I really appreciate it. But exciting week ahead for all of us. So enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of your football Saturday. Big game tonight. Big game going on right now. I see Notre Dame is boat racing Syracuse. Let's get an update on the Oregon score, just because I feel like you guys at home are watching, but I'm obviously not watching. Oh, Oregon 21-14 in the second quarter there. That's pretty awesome stuff there. So big implications in that one and big implications later tonight. So I'm starting to ramble. I'm getting out of here on that. Ohio State winners today. Final game inside the Horseshoe, 42-9 over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Thanks for jumping in and hanging out with me. We'll see you again soon here on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube channel, the Buckeyes Roundtable page.